Ronnie Floyd is a leader of leaders with a vision to change the world. The 4 Leaders podcast with Ronnie Floyd is committed to investing, inspiring, and influencing your life and leadership today. With a legacy of investing in thousands and thousands of leaders throughout the years who've led in multiple arenas of leadership. Now is the time, and today is the day for Ronnie Floyd to invest, inspire, and influence you in a serious and responsible way. So spread the news and share the 4 Leaders podcast with others around the world. Now, here's your host, Ronnie Floyd.
Welcome to our podcast today. My subject is walking with other leaders. My name is Ronnie Floyd. Welcome to the 4 Leaders podcast. When you really look at leadership and walking in leadership, it really is about walking with other leaders. This is what I want to talk about today on our podcast. Please share it with a friend, share it with leaders that you know in your marketplace ministry, or whether it's in a local church or whatever you do as your vocation. It is important that we learn what leadership is really all about. Walking with other leaders is really something that all of us can learn about and can become better at in our lives. This is the 67th podcast in our 4 Leaders edition. I do hope that you will share it with a friend. I hope that you will share a rating that is positive about this podcast so that many others will be able to see it on YouTube as well as audio platforms around the world. You know, this past week in our home, we had a young couple. In fact, they came to spend a couple of nights with us and to be with us and to walk with them in their leadership and in their lives. Pastor Alan Arthur and his wife, Jenna, are from the First Baptist Church in San Saba, Texas. This past summer, I spoke in their church 4 different times, and I really fell in love with this couple and so thankful for the opportunities that we've had with them. And one of the things that I really enjoy about Pastor Allen is that he's so inquisitive and he realizes he doesn't know about leadership very much at all in his life. This is so important. Doesn't matter who we are and how old we are. I'm telling you, I am learning new things in leadership day by day. On Monday morning of this week, I asked him, would you like to go on a walk with me? In fact, I had been really busy on that Sunday, and I was not with them at Cross Church, where they came to learn more about the ministry and literally follow people around all day Sunday and Sunday night and Monday, just so they could learn more about the ministry and what it's all about. Well, I'd been so busy with ministry on Sunday, I did not get home till later on Sunday night. So I needed a time to catch up with him and let him ask me anything that he wanted to know from me before they left on Monday evening. Well, I thought, how are we going to work this in? And I knew I would go on a walk, or I usually go on a run, but it was a day to walk rather than to run. And so I asked Alan, hey, you ever go on a walk? Why don't you go on a walk with me today? And we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. So early on Monday morning, we went on a walk together. In fact, we went on a 4-mile walk. And as we were leaving, I immediately began asking him questions, and which also led him to ask me questions. But the question I asked him first on this walk, within probably 2 minutes from our home, I said, Alan, what is your next mountain you need to climb in your church? Or we could say it this way, as I did then. What is your next big leadership challenge before you? He immediately shared that with me. And he talked about the opportunities. He talked about what was before him. And he talked about various things relating to all of that. And after sharing about it for 5 to 10 minutes and listening to him, he then immediately asked me a question. And I thought it was a great question. And with this, he asked me, hey, Dr. Floyd, what did you look for in other leaders? And then he admitted sheepishly, but yet humbly, he said, I've never done this before. I do not know at times, what I need to look for when we're talking about looking for other leaders to walk alongside of us. And so I said, well, let's talk about that for a minute. And I told him there were 4 things that were very important to me when I was choosing other leaders to walk beside me. Listen carefully, and I don't want you to forget this statement today. Walking with other leaders is really what leadership is all about. And that is an interesting concept in and of itself. I'm sure I've said it before somewhere, perhaps. I'm sure I may have even written something like that before. But quite honestly, after that walk and thinking about it all day, I really thought, this is something that really, again, that I've learned about leadership, that walking with other leaders is really what leadership is all about. And so I took Alan's question very seriously, and I told him and talked to him for the next 15 or so minutes on that walk as he would correspond with questions in a normal conversation that we would have, because we're on a walk and we're discussing things, we're laughing about things, and we're learning together from each other. And I told him that I was always looking for these 4 things. And the first would be character, the importance of someone's character. Are they truthful? Do they live by what they say? In the midst of trial, how do they respond? Do we know that we can count on them? Have they ever been tested? Or is this their first rodeo? What is it? Character is very important. You know that. I know that. When you study great corporations, they always look for people with character. No one wants to hire people that do not have personal character. People that literally, they are very committed to the truth, very committed to living truthfully, and to being truthful with others. Faithfulness to show up at work, faithfulness to do the duties before them. The importance of character. Oh, listen, this is massive. It doesn't matter whether you're at Chick-fil-A or whether you're at Walmart, J.B. Hunt, Tyson, or you're somewhere across America or the world working in corporate America. Character is very important. It is always important. And the people that walk alongside of us on our teams need to be people of character. So I talked about this with this young leader, and we discussed these matters together. And then I talked to him about competency. Competency. It's so important that you talk about competency with other leaders. When you are interviewing a leader, you need to think about the people who walk alongside of you. You cannot get caught up with their charisma. You cannot get caught up with their character. You've got to be caught up with, ultimately, can they do this job? Are they qualified? Are they competent? They may look the part, but they cannot get it done. We are in football season during this time, and there are quarterbacks at times who look the part. I mean, they really look the part. But the problem is, when they get on the field, there are times they can't get it done. They're just not competent. They're maturing. They will be better. But at that time, they're struggling. They're struggling to make the big play, finishing the task, big things. Competency matters. Listen, whoever you are and whatever you do, you got to be good at it. So get good at what you do. If you want leaders to walk alongside of you, you want people who are people of character. Critical that they're people of character, but they also must be competent. Competency is a big, big matter in leadership. This is a part of what someone's talent is. It's a natural to them. When people are wrestling about what they want to do with their life, as many young adults do, they struggle many times trying to navigate, what do I do? How do I do it? Listen, you need to do something that is natural for you, something that you're good at, and don't run away from it because you're good at it and you'd like to try something new. Listen, you can get competent at what you're already good at. You can really get better at it, and before you know it, you can be a real expert in the field. And when you're faithful long term, that's where you can become an expert in and about in the task that you are very good at with your competency levels. Chick-fil-A is really strong on these three things relating to people that they hire, and I believe in them deeply. Character is one, competency is one, and then, of course, chemistry is another, of which I'm going to talk about in a moment. But for me, I've developed four, and those four are character, number one. Number two is competency. Number three is context. Context. So many people do not pay attention to the context of the people they hire. It doesn't matter whether it's a sports group going to hire a new leader, whether it's a corporation going to hire a new leader, whether it is a church going to hire a new pastor, or whether it is someone out here in the world of life who just operates in one environment alone successfully in a major big city environment. That person needs to understand that's what they're good at. Their context, home, always needs to be the kind of city they live in today. But when we're out here on the other side of life and we are hiring people, when we are calling people to walk alongside of us in our lives and in what we do for a living, they need to be contextually relevant to where we're asking them to come and to be a part of. So what does context mean? I believe it's important when you're hiring people that you look for people who the culture of where we live would be natural for them. In other words, you could see them fitting where you live. If they may be great in Atlanta, but they may not be great in Phoenix. They may be great in Miami, but they may not be great in New York. They might be great in the city of Dallas, but they might not be great in the city of Fayetteville, Arkansas. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's the culture. They have to fit in the culture. In other words, I like to say it this way, and sometimes it takes a few months. It's not something you always know before you hire someone, but you have an instinct the more you hire that this person will fit. But many people, it takes time for them to fit, but they finally feel like this. They feel like it's home. That's what you want people to do. They'll stay with you longer if they like where they live, if they naturally fit where they are at the time. But context also has another dimension that cannot be ignored, and it's the culture of your organization. They need to fit within the culture of your organization. They don't need to be different from the people around you. They need to be very similar to the people on your team. So it's important about character and competency and context. And then I talked with that young leader about the importance of chemistry. Number 4, their chemistry. I told him there were people that we had many years interviewed that were great, but it just didn't work because we knew they would not have the chemistry in our ministry, chemistry in our organization. I talked with him as well in that chemistry part about their companion in marriage. What do they do? Are they involved in it? Are they active in their lives, in their marriage? Look at their marriage. How is their marriage? Are they healthy? What can you find out about their financials? Because people sometimes live in a wreck in their financial lives. It's so important that we understand the importance of chemistry when we're hiring and we're calling our teams to be around us. But I also think chemistry is not simply relating to does their companion fit with them here, but also will they as a couple, will he or she as a person, will they fit in the entire chemistry of our team? That is significant. So I just want you to know when you're working through people who you want to walk alongside of, I'm telling you, in your life and what your organization may be, your ministry may be, your corporation may be, it is important that you look for people with character, people who have great competency levels, who are skilled, people who fit into the context of the culture of the region we live in and the culture of the organization, and the people will fit. Do they fit in our chemistry? Big deal. They've got to fit right here. And do they add to the chemistry of our team? Well, leadership really is about walking with other leaders. I came out after that walk and I thought, boy, I learn about leadership all the time. And, it made me wonder, it made me just write this statement down. Leadership is really all about taking a walk with other leaders. So you need to ask yourself, who do you want to walk alongside you? And you need to ask yourself, does anyone want to walk alongside of you? I learn more about leadership each day. And leadership really is about walking with other leaders. It may surprise you. You may learn more when you ask someone, hey, You want to go on a walk with me? This is what leaders do. Leaders are walking with other leaders.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information on Ronnie Floyd, go to 4leaders.com. We'll see you next time.